The starting 15 seconds, which I just showed you, is everything that you need to see to get a full grasp on what Helck is going to be about. But at the same time, you're just going to be wowed by everything you didn't expect. Helck is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Nanaki Nanao. It was serialized from May of 2014 and ended its run in December of 2017. I was actually someone who had read the manga, and when I heard that it was going to be getting an anime adaptation, I was excited because it had been about 8 to 9 years since Helck had started, and 6 years since it had ended. It wasn't an anime someone was particularly excited about, like Jujutsu Kaisen or Chainsaw Man. It wasn't overhyped, it wasn't something that people thought, oh, this is going to be the next big thing. But I'm here to tell you that it definitely is. Helck is the story of, well, Helck. He's a human hero who has been growing to hate his own kind. This is because his brother has been killed by his own hands, and there's a bunch of things happening in his own human kingdom. There's a lot of twists and turns that I can't really go into, and I don't want to spoil everything, but Helck is amazing for this reason. It doesn't shy away from the darkness and the grittiness of human nature. It actually highlights it. It shows how demons could be more accepting and more enlightened than humans, and how humankind is constantly searching for a power struggle. I don't think I've ever seen a show where humanity is actually the villains. I think it's really bold to highlight the differences between humanity and demonkind in the show by having the demons actually be, well, more human. Demons show compassion for Helck and his struggle as a human. They accept him. The demons don't fault him for being a human, something that he can't control. It's something that divides them, but in some way, it actually brings them closer together as they all unite under one banner to exterminate humanity. The one person who doesn't accept Helck is what I would consider the actual protagonist of the story, which is a little weird considering the fact that the story is called Helck, but you're going to focus on Vermilio, the Red. It's a demon lord who has immense power, but she tries to trick Helck into being ousted from demon society. She puts all of these barriers in front of him, and even a barrier between the two of them. I think that this metaphysical or metaphorical barrier is something that actually goes to help Helck a lot. It continues on that theme of accepting others despite their differences. It's something that, especially nowadays, we really need to consider. There's something about having compassion and accepting one another despite being different that shows a real, well, humanity in everything. Speaking of the humans in the show are, well, really evil. They are just downright deplorable at times, but that kind of helps the point that the author is trying to go for. Humans are flawed, and they're trying to strive for perfection when we're inherently flawed. I don't think any other show or series has really touched on this. If it has, please let me know down in the comments, but I really think that Helck does something really bold here. Without going off the deep end, this show really doesn't have that much edge. I think that's something that goes to its benefit because it allows for the show to breathe, and it doesn't have that quote-unquote edge factor that other shows such as Ragna Crimson have. Let's look at 2 clips from Helck and from Ragna Crimson to try and show how they do these vastly different. In the first clip, you're going to see from Helck how the absurdity makes the darkness a lot easier, whereas in Ragna Crimson, the darkness is accentuated by the fact that they're going full force with the edge. 選手入場ですよ。
いかがです。あれではまともに走ることもできませんよ。バカ！ヘルクの人気を甘く見るな。あんな露骨な仕込みでは民も黙ってないぞ。ヘルクでっけえな。馬がちっちゃく見えない。身も心もでけえ男だぜ。ヘルクはよ。僕も大きい男になりたい。こいつら大丈夫か。プラス思考なんですよ。はーい、お待たせいたしました。司会のロココです。今回はなんとまさかのレース対決です。あの余裕面は何なんだ。無駄で呆れるほど弱くて哀れで愚かでウジ虫よりも知能指数レベルの低い人間ごときが狩人風情が許さないのざまだ。奴には想像できなかった。 自分が狩られる結末など私の挑発に怒り本気で殺そうとしながらも全力で殺そうとしなかった誇りとおごりから生じる隙
I think it really ties down Ragna Crimson, and it clearly shows like a very big disconnect between these two shows and how Helck is the better one, in my opinion. I think another strong suit of Helck is the fact that it has a really strong supporting cast. Helck is, well, about Helck and Vermilio, to be fair, but the supporting cast is really, really strong. You find yourself endeared to these characters that aren't exactly main characters, but insert themselves as main characters. This allows us to see characters that otherwise wouldn't get character development in other shows or manga. Well, to get that platform, they're allowed to breathe and get some kind of run. They show themselves becoming the heroes that Helck and Vermilio are supposed to be and protecting the demon kind. One thing I would like to touch on is Helck himself. He's a Herculean man. He's someone who's supposed to be this main protag who's big and burly and one-punching everything like Saitama, but instead he's deeply flawed. Yes, he has these powers, and yes, he can, kill everything in his sight, but he doesn't just boast his strength. He goes around helping people, being kind and courteous. He's a naive and funny character that you can relate to because he is flawed. He's someone who has trauma and is trying to work through that, but he can't get over it. He just can't come to grip with what's happened, with the death in his life. He doesn't want to kill people. He wants to live a happy-go-lucky life. And you see this character so full of life being devoid of it. And you understand, you sympathize. It's something that you're not going to see in a lot of other shows. Maybe in Berserk with Guts. Maybe in a bunch of other sign-in shows. But Helck does this really well. I think Helck, as a character, is deeply flawed, but at the same time strong morally. And I think that's something that I really, really empathize with. I think the reason I resonate so much with Helck is because he's an elder brother as well. He has a younger brother named Cless, and when tragedy strikes the family, they're both orphaned. That doesn't stop Helck, though, from caring for him. Instead, Helck actually does anything he can to make sure that Cless has a good life. He provides for him, even if they are orphans that are poor and on the street. He takes beatings from the rich kids, something that makes him lose even more faith in humanity. Even still, Helck takes these beatings so that his brother won't. He tries and tries and tries and perseveres so that his brother can have a good life. That is until Cless is sick in the middle of winter and Helck has to try and get some medicine for him. He goes door to door asking for any kind of help financially, and he doesn't get it. Realizing that his brother is on death's door, he falls, crumbling to his knees. He knows he's failed, just as many of us have failed in the past. He's waiting there, desperate, until a child comes up to him. The father of the girl makes sure to take in Cless and actually gets the medicine that he needs to survive. Helck is overridden with emotion and tries to say thank you over and over again while crying. His gratitude and love for humanity hasn't been lost. He sees the compassion shown by this man to save his brother, and he has a spark within him. He does everything that he can to make sure that Cless still has a good life. Later on, we see his brother become the hero. Cless is someone that is seen as a prophet, a messiah even, someone that is going to take the demons and wipe them out completely. His status has elevated, and now he's able to live in nobility. That same girl he has an infatuation with, Cless has a free ride now, while Helck is left behind as a hard laborer. While Cless still loves his brother, Helck is not getting the same kind of treatment at all. This crescendos into the biggest twist of the series, and I won't talk about it because it really is something that you need to see or read to believe. What Helck does so well is its comedy and its tragedy. It balances both, having both the humor and the darkness. But these reasons that I stated above are why I think Helck is such a really good show. I think there's something that you're not going to see ever. Part 1 and Part 2 of the series are very vastly different shows, and I think that's something that we can all grow to appreciate. It's something that we see in Attack on Titan with Season 1 and Season 2, that overall progression. A show that can adapt and change its style to fit anything that it wants to do is something that I really find interesting. I don't know about anyone else, but it just is breathtaking to see a show like this. Another show that I draw comparisons from is Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun. It's a show that also has demons, and our main protagonist is also human. While the darkness in the show is not as heavy as, say, Helck, it's still prominent there. There's this kind of despair and tragedy and trauma there that also elevates the comedic aspects of it. Helck does that and then more. So would I recommend this show to someone? For sure. This is an amazing show. I think that, honestly, it might be the show of the year. It came out, it did things that no other show did this year. Obviously, Attack on Titan ended, but for a new show, this is probably it. And if you can't really get with the fast pacing that is in the middle of the show, I would highly recommend checking out the manga. It's a really good read. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about anime that I really love. I'm definitely going to be doing more of this stuff, and this is kind of the direction of the channel for me going forward. I'm going to do a little bit more of this and maybe some things with gaming here and there, but not so much anymore Dead by Daylight content. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great time. Happy holidays.